You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Coming up, the city of Miami schedules a town hall meeting to address flooding issues.
Of course, flooding's been the main concern this week, but by the time we get to this afternoon, we can finally put the rain to rest. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And there may be new hope for women struggling with infertility because of obesity. All that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A lawsuit alleges a Barton County jailer bartered with inmates for sexual favors. In the suit, a woman who was an inmate claims she and others were sexually abused and deprived of rights at the Barton County, Missouri jail by Deputy Antonio Azua. The accuser claims during her 3 times as an inmate from 2018 to 2019, she had to barter for more humane conditions or special privileges. The plaintiff also claims she was raped by Azua while she was shackled, and she had to perform a sexual favor in order to drink water out of a sanitary container. Defendants in the case have filed a response denying the allegations. Recurring flooding problems in the Miami, Oklahoma area lead to tension and legal battles involving the city, property owners, and the Grand River Dam Authority for years. And now the city has scheduled a town hall meeting to address some of those issues, including the GRDA's operation of the Pensacola Dam. That meeting will be on June 10th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Coleman Theater in Miami. Among those attending will be city and community leaders, legal counsel, and experts. The city says the meeting will include updates on some legal disputes and opportunities for public comments and questions. A project that started in May of 2020 to detect COVID-19 early in Missouri may also be able to tell us when other diseases are present. Sewer Shed Surveillance Project has been sampling wastewater throughout the Show Me State to understand what COVID really looks like in the area and what variants are present. With the rise of at-home COVID-19 tests, health departments may be underestimating COVID and other virus cases in their area. This data could bridge those gaps.
When I start to see it in the watershed, sewer shed, then I can anticipate that, okay, we're probably going to have a surge because it seems to be coming. And sure enough, usually when I start to see it, then I can anticipate that surge. And then later on, when we see that it's declining, we can also anticipate that our numbers will decline.
Any virus can be tested in the sewer shed, which could be very useful for health departments in the future. Patients at a rehabilitation institute in Arkansas are turning to technology for treatment. Physical therapists are now utilizing virtual reality to help with anything from range of motion to memory. Claire Kritz has more.
Sensors strapped in, headset on.
Let's try a different game here.
I got to put the new virtual reality system at the Baptist Health Rehabilitation Institute in Little Rock to the test.
Lean forwards.
Lou Treader is a physical therapist here and says the real immersive system can be used for a wide range of patients.
We see a lot of neuro patients, so stroke, brain injury, spinal cord, but we also see orthopedic patients.
Each game targets a different area, whether it's balance.
Say our patient has difficulty with sitting balance, moving forwards and backwards and reaching towards items.
Or range of motion.
I missed all of them.
All while recording progress and giving feedback along the way.
So maybe they start out only being able to bend their arm maybe 90 degrees, and we can program it to, for certain games, that they get positive reinforcement if they get to that 100-degree range or 120-degree range or on up to a normal range.
While working their body, most of these scenarios also have a component to work the mind as well.
To work on their memory or sequencing of different items.
While some games I passed with flying colors.
Fantastic.
Others were a little more challenging.
I quit.
Okay.
But overall, Treader says this tool helps patients tap into their competitive side while making them stronger day after day.
The more engaged they are in the activity, the more they buy into it, the more likely they are to reach the goals that they're trying to attain.
A charming couple is putting their stomachs to the test. Professional eater Randy Santel braved a new food challenge in Kansas on Wednesday. He was joined by his girlfriend, fellow professional eater Katina Eats Kilos, whose real name is Katina Desjarnet. Oh, I thought her real name was Eats Kilos. It all went down at Kansas City's 1889 Pizza Napolitana. Randy and Katina both consumed 6 specialty pizzas in under 60 minutes. That adds up to roughly 6 pounds of pizza each. Despite Wednesday's exercise and eating mass quantities, Randy's actually working to become a registered dietitian. Could you eat that much pizza? 6 pizzas in 60 minutes?
No, I don't like power eating.
I think I could do it.
Speaking of power eating, I know you've got to run outside and prep with Chef Anthony. So while you do that, I'm going to take care of some weather. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. So here's what we've got on the Skywatch storm tracker. As we still have some residual rain that's hanging on. It certainly is not as intense as what we've seen past couple of mornings, and slowly and surely moving out to the east. Now the key factor is, I want to put this on a 5-hour loop, and here's why. Because it's stalled out to the west, and then it's already started its counterclockwise motion. And this is great news, because this is what's going to get it out of here. Instead of it consistently grabbing that Gulf moisture and moving in from the south, now that it's stalled, it can continue to push east. So we are headed in the right direction. Now, with that being said, we still do have flood warnings for the Osage and the Little Osage, and we've had those consistently here for the last couple of days. But we've got a new one involved with that, and that is going to be the Marmaton River. So let's go ahead and remove the radar, get a better look at that. And so there you are. That's the Osage, Little Osage, and Marmaton up to the northern part of southwest Missouri, and those are actual flood warnings. You notice the last one, it doesn't expire down until Sunday. Then as we drop down to the south, we've been so lucky with the Neosho. The Neosho was actually able to absorb quite a fair amount of water. A flood advisory that lasts up until tomorrow evening. So that's where we stand river-wise. But also too, if we kind of back out here and we talk about the 4 states with our highlighted counties, we do not have any countywide flood watches, warnings, or advisories. And just as a friendly reminder, if we put those in order from most severe to least severe, it goes warning, then watch, and last, what we see on the Neosho is the advisory. So as we kind of reset this, as we'll taper off to the west first, and then the central portion, and eventually eastern portion of southwest Missouri, that's just going to take a little bit. That'll probably last until this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-50s right now, low 60s, about as warm as we're going to get, and that's just a result of the cloud cover. We're not going to have any sunshine today. But as you can see, as everything spins off into central Missouri, and they're welcome to it with the amount of rain that we've picked up, we're actually going to jump right back into the 70s for Friday afternoon. Friday is going to look delightful. And then we get ready for the 80s beginning on Saturday. As a matter of fact, that's going to carry us all the way through Memorial Day, and we end up wrapping up May and beginning June on an actual warm note, something that we haven't been able to say in a while. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
All right, I'm back with Chef Anthony here in the KOAM studio carport where we are grilling for Memorial Day weekend. Chef, why don't you tell me a little bit about what we have going here on the grill right now?
Okay, on the grill I have mango habanero broth right here.
Okay.
I have traditional pineapple broth here. I have jalapeno pineapple, Bavarian, jalapeno cheddar, and traditional cheddar cheese broth. These particular yummy burgers right here are the Pittsburgh's own grill burger. And this one right here, these two right here are Simon Marcus' own Flaming Monkey Burgers.
Flaming Monkey Burgers. Okay. And they have bacon wrapped around all of them.
Wrapped in bacon.
Yummy. Because everything's better with bacon, right?
Oh yeah. So, and then I have our vegetables that we prepped this morning. I had them over here on the cooler side of my grill so that I don't burn them.
Okay, so just to recap a little bit with the brats, in our last segment, you prep them for the grill. You don't just take them out of the package and throw them straight on the grill. But then you're going to, by the time you get it cooked all the way on the inside, it's most likely burn on the outside.
It's going to be burnt on the outside. So what I do is I boil my broth beforehand. Traditionally, I'll use beer with my water. Not very much. but the beer helps a little bit with the collagen of the natural casein that they use to make the broth snap just a little bit better.
Plus, it's, I mean, you're gonna cook the alcohol out of it, so don't worry about that.
It boils, before the water even comes to a boil, the alcohol's out of it.
So you're boiling your broths for 3 to 4 minutes ahead of
Yes.
time, just get them cooked through a little bit. Pre-cooked, par-cooked, should we say?
Par-cooked a little bit. The idea behind it is that I want to have the flavors, but I don't want to overdo it.
So you have quite a bit of flame going on your grill. How do you determine like how much you want when you're grilling?
Well, you kind of have to watch. Every grill has a hot spot. This particular grill's hot spot is right here. So I have my burgers near the hot spot because ground beef has to cook to 155 degrees. So I'm watching that 155 degree mark, and I'm keeping my burgers close to it so that I can make sure I cook them all the way through.
Okay.
Now, some people are out there going, well, I like my burgers meat. If you grind your own burgers, or you trust please your butcher, then you can do that. If you go to the grocery store and you buy that big 5-pound bag of hamburger meat, you need to cook it to 155 degrees. You don't want to take that chance. You don't know what's in it.
Okay. What about for the vegetables? I see you have them more off to the side. The heat's a lot lower over here.
And I'm slow cooking the vegetables down just a little bit. I want to make sure that I get them nice and cooked, but I don't want to burn them. So I'm taking my time with them. I'm not rushing anything. And the same thing with all the rest of with everything else. As you notice, I kind of keep turning everything and I'm looking at it. Because I par-cooked the broth, since I cooked the broth first, all I'm doing now is giving them the character of a barbecue.
Okay.
So, and I can move them around a little bit. I can move them up here into the heat to give them a little bit more fire. I can move them away, depending upon what I want to do and what I'm looking for at that moment in time.
And if you want to go, for the kids or something, throw on some just traditional hot dogs and stuff
Traditional
as
hot
well.
dogs and stuff, you can put them right on there and and be sure to keep them rolling around. The smaller hot dogs, they only have to cook to 160 degrees. So those are not a problem to do. You don't have to par cook them, you can throw them right on there. Most of them are thin enough. You just keep them rolling around and they'll cook all the way through.
Yeah, and if you want everything done at the same time, throw those on at the end. Or if you want to feed the kids first, then
Start them, and then the kids will be out eating ahead of time. And if the kids want to do it, but say you're having a large gathering of people and you want to let the kids eat first, go ahead and boil the hot dogs. Take them outside, put them on the grill, let the kids get to see them on the grill. They still get the same taste, textures, and flavors, but you don't have to worry about much.
all right. So broths, they're good and done when they start juicing.
Yes, and they start to juice up, and you're just about there. These right here are my mango habaneros that I pulled back away from the heat a little bit, and I'm rotating, giving them each one just a little bit more time up towards the heat, so that I can control them and I don't have to worry about it.
Okay, so we are pretty much finishing up our cook right here.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and go to commercial break and come back.
Okay, we can do that. We'll be
Test
ready.
out our there's so much, I don't even know where to begin. Yeah. Also, we have an exciting event coming up next.
Yes, we do.
We're going to talk about a big fundraising event for the culinary class. And a big trip that you guys are planning on.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that when we come back as well. We'll be right back. Hey, we're on air. All right, we are back. All right, so we are cooking our Memorial Day cookout. We've got several different kinds of brats. We've got 2 different kinds of burgers. All the meat was provided to us from Simon Market this morning.
Yes, and our beautiful produce from Martinez Produce.
Yeah. Looking forward to trying out a little bit of everything. So what do we got done so far?
Well, all of our broths are pretty much done. I'm doing the last little bit of character on our broth. And just giving them just a little bit more color.
Okay.
And you just cook them till you get to the color and character that you want them to have. Ideally, this is what I like to see on my broth.
So we par-cooked them about 3 to 4 minutes, and then the actual cooking process, since you're keeping them out of the heat, the strong heat, it's roughly about 10 minutes.
About 10 minutes. Yeah. It doesn't take real long. It's just like I said, it just depends on how you want them to look. And if you really want to show off for your guests, don't par-cook them near as long, or par-cook them and then set them in the low heat, especially if you're doing like steak along with them. Then you can show off, look at how beautiful these are starting to come up. And then if they don't like to put them on, they don't know that you plan to hit. It's kind of a restaurant industry secret. we'll keep that one between ourselves.
Okay, so what are we going to try out this morning?
Ooh, I have some beautiful, beautiful broths we were trying for. So I have a hot dog bun here for you.
Okay.
And I think we're going to go with this guy right here.
What kind is this one?
That is a mango habanero.
Oh, sweet.
And I like onions on mine and a little bit of lettuce sometimes underneath, but not everybody's kind of into that. But I have ketchup, mustard, and my personal favorite, I like to put salsa on mine.
Yeah, let's go ahead and put a little bit of lettuce on there too. You put salsa on your brats?
I put salsa on it. And I make sure it's either room temperature or cold, because I like the textural, the cooling that you get from the salsa that you don't get from everything else.
You do that in lieu of ketchup, I'm assuming.
Sometimes. Depends on how spicy my broth is.
Okay.
If it's really spicy, then I will add ketchup.
This is really evil. This is like the biggest brat ever that you're asking me to eat on there, right?
Wouldn't want to be predictable.
And normally we have multiple cameras set up to where we could take away.
Not today.
Watching. Okay, so I enjoy this. Why don't you tell me about a trip that your culinary class, some of your culinary students are planning for next year, and what you guys are doing to raise money?
So next summer, my students and I are planning on taking a trip to Italy. And what we're going to do is start in the French Riviera and work our way down the coast of Italy, and we're going to eat our way through. All immersive. Students are going to learn how to get an exchange rate. Some of them will be on the plane for the first time, but they're going to be able to travel all the way through Italy. We're going to visit places like Florence, and we're going to go to Pico World Italy, which is like World of Fun, but food-based.
Food-based World of Fun.
Food-based World of Fun. So if you can imagine all the fun that you have in the amusement park, this is the same thing, but it's all food-based.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
They're going to visit a balsamic vinaigrette facility. They're going to go and try freshly pasta bread. They're going to get to sit on the beach. They're going to spend 2 days in Rome and tour the Vatican. It's going to be quite exciting. But it's a very expensive trip. So we're holding a barbecue. We're partnering with Simon Market with their meal, and we're holding a barbecue, the first annual Smoking in the Jungle. So
Any barbecue.
smoking and barbecue. We're going to have whole chicken. We're going to have racks of ribs, St. Louis style, tri-tip, and choice of which one for you. So come out, enjoy it, and if you really want to throw down, I'll be participating. So come out, try your skills, and
All right, that's coming up later this month on June 24th and 25th. The actual competition on the 25th. We'll have more details next couple of weeks as well. All right, so this has some heat to it, for
It
sure.
does.
Yes,
like that.
that's really good. This is the mango habanero brat. I'm excited to try out the burgers, the gorilla burger and the flaming monkey burger. Try out the, oh wait, let's do those ones. Yeah, we gotta do these guys.
We've got so much
Something
food
like
for you
that.
to try today.
Thank you so much for coming in this morning and cooking with us, and I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend.
I'm going to do my
Great start
best.
to your summer. Madison, welcome to you as well. We'll be right back.
Topping Health Watch this morning, new data on long-term cognitive benefits of breastfeeding and how legalizing marijuana is impacting use. Naomi Rockham, she has today's top health stories.
New research shows once a state legalizes recreational cannabis, residents are more likely to start using the drug. A study of more than 20,000 Americans published in the journal Addiction looked at 4 states where recreational marijuana is permitted. Researchers found more people started using pot when it was legalized, including those too young to legally do so. Breastfeeding for longer periods of time is associated with higher cognitive test scores later in childhood. That's according to British researchers who followed nearly 8,000 infants until age 14. They found that longer breastfeeding was associated with higher verbal and reasoning scores at all ages. And women who struggle with infertility because of obesity may benefit from lowering their blood sugar levels. A study published in the Journal of Endocrinology found that using a common type 2 diabetes medication to lower blood sugar in pregnant mice improved body weight and normalized the reproductive cycle. Hormones and ovulation were also partially restored. Those are some of the day's top health stories. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Live look over 7th and Rangeline, where the rain actually not as intense as what we saw just a couple hours ago, but still going to have to fight it for the rest of the day. Live look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Now, the majority of the main band is now pushing east toward the Springfield-Branson area, but you'll notice because of that counterclockwise motion, we still get a little kickback coming off the north, and that's why it keeps on filtering back to the west. But here's the positive aspect of it. Number one, we get the intermittent breaks, and number two, we don't see the yellow and the orange, and certainly not the red that we've seen for the past 2 days. So it is a slow work in progress, but we are getting there. We see the storm system right now. It's interesting when we put the storm tracks and the cones on, because you'll say, oh, so everything's going off to the northeast. But remember, once it kicks up to the northeast, look at this one up by Ottawa. This is a perfect example. You've got this one, kicks off to the northeast, comes back up, see that one outside of Ottawa, and then it falls back down. But at least the majority of the rain has pushed off to the east. But if you want to go back to Saturday, anywhere that you see the orange right there, that's where we're talking about 3.5. I've seen some 4.5s involved with that. And so even when you get into the green, remember, that's 1.5 inches of rain, and widespread just throughout. And we still are hanging on to flood warnings for the Osage, Little Osage, and now the Marmonton River as well. Temperatures sitting in the 50s. Not much movement for today. We'll go low 60s. That's about as good as we're going to see. Nice thing is once we get to tomorrow, drastic change, not only with dry temperatures, but perhaps more importantly, get a chance for those flood warnings to finally back off time-wise. It's pretty amazing right now with the amount of rain that we picked up that we no longer have countywide flood watches, even advisories for that matter. Looking at a great Memorial Day weekend. Like I said, we get through the next 4 or 5 hours and we can finally call it good. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Oklahoma authorities say they shut down what they call a large methamphetamine trafficking organization in northeast Oklahoma. Officers with the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and the Bartlesville Police Department served 13 arrest warrants, seized more than 35 pounds of meth and nearly 100 guns. OBN says the traffickers shipped anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds of meth into northeastern Oklahoma from the West Coast on a weekly basis. They say those shipments would then be moved onto the streets in Washington County, Nowata County, and parts of Kansas. You can find much more on this case on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Delaware County detention officer is arrested accused of smuggling contraband into the county jail. Anthony Cornell faces charges of bribery, official misconduct, 2 counts of introducing contraband into a penal institution, and possession with intent to distribute. Court documents show an investigation launched after the jail administrator learned about the contraband being smuggled. Former reality TV star is sentenced for child pornography in Arkansas. The judge sentenced Josh Duggar to 12 years in prison after he was convicted for receiving and possessing child pornography. He was arrested in 2021 after a Little Rock police detective found child porn files shared by a computer traced to Duggar. U.S. District Judge denied Duggar of a new trial. Cherokee Nation says it donated nearly $500,000 to 136 Northeast Oklahoma volunteer fire departments. Each of the fire departments received $3,500 to go towards equipment, fuel, and other expenses. The tribe makes this annual contribution to help support the volunteer departments that otherwise rely on fundraising to maintain operation. And a local organization that helps traumatized children is celebrating 25 years of service. On Wednesday, the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri hosted a presentation and get-together. The center first opened its Joplin doors in 1997. Since then, staff provided services and care to more than 20,500 families experiencing abuse.
A bigger problem with child abuse, but I think it's also a better job that we've done of getting education out to our community to know that child abuse is not okay. Used to, child abuse was kind of a taboo subject that nobody wanted to talk about, and I think now more people are willing to talk about that and acknowledge that it's not okay.
Besides Joplin, the Children's Center of Southwest Missouri also serves Monette, Butler, and Nevada. Workers at Joplin Brewery are doing what they can to help Ukrainians affected by war. Chaos Brewing is using a recipe for Ukrainian beer and donating proceeds from every draft poured to Ukrainian humanitarian efforts.
There's a brewery in Ukraine that created the recipe. It's kind of a unique story. They released it to the Brewers Association. It's kind of been put out across the whole country. One of our other owners suggested that we jump in and brew it, so we did. We jumped right in.
Chaos Brewing is at 112 South Main Street in Joplin. The historic Carver League building in Pittsburgh is getting some much-needed renovations, and it's a Pitt State student, Zach Burris, who's serving as construction manager. Burris is a School of Construction major. The building is getting new foundation supports, new walls, and a roof, and a new HVAC system.
They trust us because of such a high quality degree that PSU puts out from their construction program, and they know that they're getting quality students and quality work from those students.
The Carver building was an important gathering place for the black community in the 1950s. They would get together there because of segregation. Well, the Queen's favorite dog showcased in a parade in Canada in honor of Her Majesty's Platinum Jubilee. Dozens of corgis donned their best tiaras and gowns in Ottawa to mark Queen Elizabeth's 70 years on the throne. 96-year-old monarch has owned dozens of corgis throughout her life. The Queen's actual Platinum Jubilee will take place in June with 4 days of celebration and pageantry. Buckingham Palace says the Queen plans to attend a number of different Jubilee events.
What in the world are you people going to do when the Jubilee's over?
Keep on celebrating.
Road goes on forever and the party never ends. Words of Robert Earl Keane, never truer for the Queen's Jubilee. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we're getting the majority of the heavy band of rain pushing to the east. This is great news. However, because we get the counterclockwise motion, the circular kickback, everything up to the north falls back down. But as we shift out to the west, we're also starting to get a break in the cloud cover. So we've got pretty dramatic changes that have taken place so far, and we are going to call that a good thing. Live look over a rain-soaked 7th and Range line sits at 54 degrees. Temperatures really not going to have much of an impact this morning. Wait till the afternoon, we'll get in the low 60s, a far cry from our average high this time of year, which should actually be around 80. Here's the important part, it's timing. As we progress this off to central Missouri, we're done by the afternoon hours. It shifts away. The cloud cover clears for Friday, and Friday's temperatures are into the 70s. We can finally sit back and get ready for a delightful Memorial Day weekend that will eventually push us up into the 80s. Right now, I'll tell you what, everybody's probably just got a little taste of cabin fever, so let's get ready to get out and enjoy some four-state fresh air from Friday all the way really until the holiday on Monday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page in our morning Insta poll, voting coming off of yesterday's primary elections in Georgia and Arkansas. It kind of caught everybody's attention nationwide, and also a fair amount of them taking place in the Lone Star State as well. Our question specifically for you is, how often do you vote? Gave you several choices. 73% say all of the above, encompassing local primaries and national. And in second place, right there, 18% of you saying only in national elections. You can take part each and every morning by going to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or connecting to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. We take this time to honor this morning's four-state hero, Sergeant First Class Michael Ford, a native of Rocky Comfort, Missouri, who served in Iraq, Kuwait, and Afghanistan as part of the 92nd Combat Engineers. A highly decorated veteran who earned the Special Forces Army Medal and the Medal of Valor. To Sergeant First Class Michael Ford, we thank you, this morning's four-state hero. When a Pennsylvania coroner took office in January, he was surprised to find 57 unclaimed sets of remains in storage at his office. So he did a little research, and he found that 15 belonged to U.S. veterans. As Jim Madalinsky shows us, now those veterans will receive the full military honors they deserve.
Good faith effort Tim Carson says it started with a conversation with other coroners in the state over what to do with these boxes, the remains of 57 people that have gone unclaimed for years, some dating back to 1993. They knew who they were, but no family members had ever come forward. After a few conversations, Carson says he reached out to a veterans group in Arizona to do some research.
It was determined that we have 15 United States veterans in our possession here at the Forensic Center.
Upon learning that, Carson says his approach shifted.
I definitely feel that it's a disgrace to all our veterans who served, and that for them to be just in a room, in a box on a floor.
Carson says a company has also volunteered concrete, and he's looking for volunteers to build a mausoleum at the Pauper Cemetery near the Westmoreland County Jail to create a final resting place for the other unclaimed remains. Meanwhile, those 15 veterans are now set to receive full military honors with a service scheduled for July.
Vietnam vets, World War II, so I think it's very important, and I think, like I said, I just know how the people of Westmoreland County are, and they take care of their veterans, and I just think that this will be a good closure.
The veterans will be buried with full military honors at the National Cemetery of the Alleghenies in the middle of July. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Twitter has agreed to pay $150 million in fines in response to a federal lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission accused Twitter of misleading 140 million of its users about how it protects their personal data. According to the FTC's lawsuit, Twitter failed to tell its users for years that it was using their contact information to help target advertising. That violates a 2011 privacy settlement with the federal government. Under their proposed settlement, Twitter will also be required to inform users about its alleged use of personal information for marketing purposes. The lawsuit comes at a bad time for the social media platform as it's going through an acquisition process by billionaire Elon Musk. Any settlement will need to be approved by the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California. An American giant in the sportswear industry is moving out of Russia. Wednesday, Nike announced it will not renew or enter into any new business commitments in the country. That includes its franchisee Up and Run. The company pointed to, quote, operational challenges in Russia. The decision comes as Russia continues its invasion of Ukraine. Other multinational businesses have taken similar steps, including Starbucks and McDonald's. Nike says it will provide pay continuity to affected employees. And Wendy's could be up for sale one day. The restaurant's management fund, Train Partners, filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission on Tuesday. According to the filing, the investment company wants to explore the possible sale or merger of the burger chain. Train is Wendy's largest shareholder. The burger chain has struggled with higher commodity and labor costs. The company's CEO said its margins have slimmed as a result. Check your pantry and fridge. More items are being recalled in connection to the Jif peanut butter recall. Initially, there were more than 45 types of peanut butter products recalled due to potential salmonella contamination, and now there are more. In the latest updates, the FDA says Mary's Harvest, Country Free, Tapered, and Garden Cut are voluntarily recalling products as well. The recalled items include fruit snack trays and celery snack cups that contain Jif peanut butter. You can go to the FDA's website for information on all specific products under recall. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Top Gun Maverick finally landing in theaters. Like the first film, the sequel brings attention to the Navy's Top Gun School. Nichelle Medina spoke with one pilot who was a part of the elite flying combat training school and the original movie.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
There's a new generation of aviators at Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick is a return to the danger zone.
We're going to show you what it's really like to be a Top Gun pilot.
When you get to Top Gun, you're flying with the best of the best.
A former Marine, Lieutenant Colonel Lynn Seckinger, flew multiple fighter aircraft, including the F-5. He was a Top Gun student and instructor from 1982 to 1986 during the filming of the original movie.
As Top Gun, we were kind of the quality assurance people for the Navy to make sure that anything we put in the movie wasn't going to put the Navy in a bad light.
Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, then a Navy base, was home to Top Gun. Many of the scenes in the 1986 film were shot here with the flying done by naval aviators.
Everything is choreographed and scripted out, so you know exactly who's turning where, when they're turning, what they're doing.
Seconder helped coordinate the aerial photography shot off the coast of San Diego and the Nevada desert. He filmed several scenes, having to fly slower and in tight formation for cameras.
Had a little switch on the bottom, you turn it on and it would film your face. So I'm one of the two guys that actually shows up in the movie as the guy in the black helmet.
Is this your idea of fun, Mav?
Here is that famous scene.
Greetings. Watch the birdie. Verify cameras are on. Check cameras on. There you go.
The Navy's best are again a part of Top Gun Maverick, delivering heart-pounding action while showcasing the Navy's power in the sky.
These men and women volunteer to do this, and they go out every day and they do it with a passion.
A Hollywood glimpse into naval aviation's elite. Nichelle Medina, CBS News, San Diego.
Go back a couple decades, and following the release of the original Top Gun, recruitment for naval aviators increased. Seconder believes that could happen again following the release of Top Gun Maverick. Live look from 7th and Rangeline. At least the rain has subsided. We're not all the way done as of yet, but certainly lightening up on the central and western portions of the 4 states. And really our hardest rain just about done on the eastern part of southwest Missouri. As we go to the sweeping radar, yeah, we see that already pressing now up I-44 in between Springfield and Lebanon. So we will call that a winner. If you go back to Saturday, you're going to see the orange lines right there. That's going to be anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 inches of accumulation. And once again, that's not even a full week. That's from Saturday to Thursday. Flood warnings in effect for the Osage, Little Osage and Marmonton rivers. Down to the south, the Neosho River now down to a flood advisory. So headed in the right direction there. And the key factor is all that Gulf moisture. Look at how far east that it's moved. Instead of coming out of Texas and up through Oklahoma, now dominating portions of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, then headed north up to the Great Lakes. Back to the 4 states here, nothing on the backside of it. We call that a winner. And this thunderstorm risk map for today, yeah, it's where that Gulf moisture is, takes us out of the loop completely. Once again, over 7th and Rangeline, it's been a little bit of a chilly morning. 54 degrees is where we stand, jockeying in between 51 and 56, and not a whole lot of movement. We will make it up into the low 60s later on today, but void of any sunshine. As this finally moves out, temperatures tonight will drop down to the 40s. That's the result of losing the cloud cover, but an indicator of where we're headed tomorrow as we jaunt back up into the 70s with sunny skies for Friday. And look at this wonderful Memorial Day weekend. 80s, sunshine, high 80s by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Investigators continue to search for a motive in a mass shooting that claimed the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers at a Texas elementary school. Authorities say the gunman legally purchased 2 rifles and hundreds of rounds of ammunition after he turned 18 on May 16th. They also say he had no known criminal or mental health history. Yesterday, President Biden signed an executive order aimed at reforming federal law enforcement rules and tactics. The order came 2 years after the death of George Floyd, while in police custody in Minneapolis. Members of the Floyd family were at the White House to witness the signing. Another plane load of baby formula arrived at Dulles Airport in Virginia on Wednesday. First Lady Jill Biden was among those on hand to greet the latest Operation Fly formula shipment. Abbott Nutrition says its formula-making plant in Michigan will reopen June 4th. The facility was closed in February after 4 infants developed bacterial infections.
All we have to do is wait just a couple more hours as the rain finally begins to push off to the east. And after that, we get a weekend where we're going to have sunny skies and temperatures in the 70s to end the work week. And then strike up the grill, Tanya. Strike up the grill.
Ooh, did you get a brat or a burger?
It's a brat.
Which kind
Mango
did you get?
habanero. I'm looking over here for affirmation from Chef Anthony.
That's the one I ate.
I just told Chef Anthony This is the best brat I've ever had in my life.
I've
had a lot of brats in my life. I've made them myself. This is the best brat I have ever had in my life.
Did you try it with salsa like Chef Anthony likes?
Salsa? Chef Anthony's like, can I make it for you? I was like, oh yeah, it's got all his fixings on it.
Yeah, no, that was really good. I would like to try a little piece of all of them just to kind of check them out. But yeah.
He can probably hook you up.
We'll see. Yeah. I will read the kicker while you eat, even though I had to eat while everyone watched. There we go. All right, it's a boy. The Brookfield Zoo in Illinois welcomes a South American tapered calf. In case you're wondering what exactly a tapir is, it's a pachyderm that's closely related to the horse and rhinoceros. Doesn't really look like either though. 11-year-old mom, Sorghum, gave birth to the 20-pound baby on Sunday. Baby tapirs are born with white stripes. They'll begin to fade in a few months and completely disappear after 6 months. That's so cool.
Mom's name is Sorghum. There's no truth in the rumor that the baby's name is soybean. Thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. Back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.